Chapter 1 I am cheating in another world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this world, things are seriously messed up: vampires, werewolves, crazy tech, potions, ghosts, cyborgs, fortune tellers, killer puppets. You name a scary thing, it's probably here. Rule number 1, always carry a lamp when you step outside, and don't wander off. The darkness just 10 yards past the gate will swallow you whole. Whether it's a person, a ghost, or some stitched-together monster, you gotta stay cool. Taiwan Novel Network. Diamond Suit, because if you lose your nerve, they'll come for you. At his beat-up table, using the dim light, Lin En was writing in his diary, logging the rules he'd lived by for the last 2 years. Lin En. Chop chop. Lamps gotta go up, time to open shop. A voice like gravel and cracking bones echoed. Lin En sighed. It was the pharmacy owner, the guy who'd saved him 2 years ago and, unfortunately, his teacher. He was just a clerk in this crazy pharmacy. Coming. Lin En yelled back, but then, a cold, robotic voice buzzed in his head. Ding. Your teacher, the blood-saw maniac, has assigned you a quest. Open the door for business and hang the soul lamp. Rewards: Skull Coins x10, Basic XP x5, Pure Human Blood x 100 ml. Lin En jumped. The system, star. After 2 years in this nightmare, his cheat code was finally here. But he didn't have time to celebrate. He knew ignoring his teacher's orders was a one-way ticket to Deadsville. Lin En bolted from the dim attic. He spotted his teacher dragging the hacked-up remains of some unidentifiable creature towards the operating room. A trail of crimson blood stained the moldy floor. *****. The electric saw screamed to life in the operating room. The bone-cracking chewing started up again. After opening up, sort all the expired meds from yesterday and feed them to the little guy in the backyard. Move it. Ding. Your teacher, the blood-saw maniac, has assigned you a quest. Sort expired medicines and feed them to the little guy in the backyard. Rewards: Skull Coins x10, Little Guy Approval -10, Housekeeping +1. Lin En froze. He knew it, he was right. His system showed up and turned everything into a quest. With that sound of chomping echoing behind him, Lin En forced himself to stay calm. ****creak creak ****. The floorboards groaned under his feet. Lin En reached the front, grabbed the oil lamp from the corner, twisted the spring, and drops of scarlet blood trickled onto the wick. ***whoosh ***. A crimson flame flared. If you listened close, you could almost hear faint screams coming from inside the lamp. Lin En's face was deadpan as he carefully swung the door open. Outside, it was black as pitch. A hazy fog hung in the air. Unsettling laughter drifted from the shadows. He hung the oil lamp on the doorframe, lighting up the weathered sign, Blood Saw Pharmacy. Ding. You received Skull Coins x10, Basic XP x5, and Pure Human Blood x 100 ml. Lin En started to head back inside, then, a raspy, creepy voice slithered from the darkness. Hey there, young fella. Morning to ya. Got any junk you don't need to give to an old lady? I'll give you a reward, hee hee. A faint light appeared in the darkness, and a stooped old woman in rags stepped forward, pulling a cart. Her smile seemed friendly enough, but Lin En saw it all too clearly. She was holding a human skin lantern, and the rusty cart was literally grafted to her hand. Ding. Human Skin Scavenger has issued an optional quest. Give junk to the scavenger. Reward: Scavenger Approval +10, Skull Coins +20, Scavenger Goodie x1. Lin En kept his cool. Sure, 1 second. Lin En spun around, walked back into the pharmacy, and grabbed 2 black garbage bags by the door. A thick, bloody stench wafted from the bags. Something inside was writhing and groaning softly. Lin En calmly dumped the junk onto the old woman's cart. Thank you, young man, you're a kind soul. The old woman's smile never faltered. She reached into her empty eye sockets and pulled out 2 bloody eyeballs. Here's a little something for you, son. Ding. You received Scavenger Approval +10, Skull Coins +20. Ding. Choose to accept the scavenger's reward, or refuse. Refusal will result in -50 Scavenger Approval, Lin En stared at the two steaming eyeballs, reached out, and took them. I'll take them, thanks. The old woman grinned ear to ear, the empty sockets even creepier. Okay, then, under Lin En's stare, the old woman pulled the cart and shuffled back into the shadows. Ding. You received, 1 tailor shop owner eyeball, 1 pork shop owner eyeball, scavenger approval plus 20, Lin En fought to stay composed, but secretly sighed in relief and got back inside the pharmacy ASAP. He knew from experience that the tailor shop skinned people alive and the pork shop sold human meat. They were right across the street, and the scavenger had the eyeballs of their bosses. Another rule of this world he'd learned. Never piss off the things that lurk in the dark. Lin En turned around, fighting to keep his face neutral. He sorted the expired black and red medicines on the counter, packed them in his bag, and started towards the backyard. The whirring of the saw still vibrated from the operating room. Lin En knew better than to interrupt his teacher. If he did, who knew who'd be next on the table? Lin En reached the backyard. He opened the cellar door and got blasted by a stench that could gag a maggot, a putrid mix of rotten meat and waste. Hiss. Unsettling sounds echoed from the cellar. Lin En knew that the cellar was where his teacher kept the little guy. Whatever it was, Lin En dumped the medicines into the cellar. Ding. You received skull coins x10, little guy approval minus 10, housekeeping plus 1. Roar, roar *. A furious howl ripped from the cellar, followed by a wave of blood. Lin En slammed the door shut. He exhaled slowly. This was his everyday routine since he became a clerk. The key to survival was simple: listen to his teacher, do what he was told. The clerks who didn't were torn apart and fed to the little guy. Lin En took a breath and whispered. System. Suddenly, a panel popped up in front of him. Chapter 2. The First Guest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin. 17 years old, level, 2. Race, human, strength, 3. Agility, 4. Intelligence, 7. Physique, 3. Basic skills, intermediate housework, 901/1000. Elementary potion making, 90/100. Elementary surgery, 20/100. Skull coins, 100. Fame, none. Bio, a low-level clerk at the Bloodsaw Pharmacy. A weak but cunning human kid. He's been in this world for 2 years, but his time might be up any day. Lin calmly studied the stats panel that had just popped up. 2 years in this place had taught him to stay calm, to keep his cool no matter what. He went over it a few times, trying to get a handle on how the system worked. So, basically, if I keep doing the jobs these creatures give me, I get rewards and level up my skills. But if that was the case, his odds of survival in this hellhole just went up. Just then, his teacher's raspy voice and heavy footsteps echoed from inside. Lin, I'm heading out for a couple of days. Watch the shop, lock up tight at night. Don't let those damn thieves get their hands on anything. Shuffle, something was being dragged down the hall. Ding. New quest, your teacher, the Bloodsaw Madman, wants you to mind the store. Reward, 50 skull coins, 100 basic XP, special item X1. Failure, the pharmacy might need some new inventory. Lin hurried back to the main room. He saw his teacher by the front door, dragging a bloody sack. Something inside was rustling and squirming. His teacher, at least 7 feet tall, with a dark red, cyst-covered body, was a sight to behold. And another panel popped up right in front of Lin. Bloodsaw Madman, race, Stitch monster, level. Alignment, lawful evil, combat, seriously, don't even think about it. Bio, owner of the Bloodsaw Pharmacy in Yuhun Lane. Skilled surgeon, but also likes to dabble in interesting side projects. Lin's heart hammered, but he kept his face blank. Teacher, anything I should know while you're gone? He had to ask, or he might as well just dig his own grave. The Bloodsaw Madman heaved the bloody sack onto his back, wheezing, money, take the money. No money, take something worth money. No money, no trade. Start choppin'. Thwack star. A bloody cleaver landed at Lin's feet. Ding. New item, Bloodsaw's gutting knife X1. Bloodsaw's gutting knife, grade, excellent, level. Exclusive, Bloodsaw Madman, authorized. Bio, the Bloodsaw Pharmacy owners go to scalpel. Razor sharp, cuts through flesh and spirits like butter. Word is, after using it for a while, you start to get a real urge to slice things. Remember. The blood-saw madman slung the bloody sack over his shoulder and lumbered toward the door. No matter what you hear outside, stay inside the light of the soul lamp. Don't go running off to play doctor for anyone. Lock the doors and windows at night. Kill anyone who comes in. Don't answer the door, don't answer any calls. Lin nodded, committing the words to memory. Got it, teacher. He watched as the hulking bloodsaw madman vanished into the inky blackness. Time crept by. Lin did his usual chores, scrubbing blood off the floor, mixing up common remedies, and then stood behind the counter, clutching the cleaver, eyes closed, just waiting for the hours to tick by. Then, knock, knock, knock *3 soft knocks at the door. Lin looked up. A grimy little girl stood there, clutching a doll, gently rapping on the door with tiny fists. Her face was all sad eyes and a trembling lip as she said, "Is the doctor in? My dolly's arm is broken. Can you fix her?" Ding. New quest, the blood puppet wants you to fix her broken doll. Reward, 50 skull coins, 50 surgical XP, special item X1. Lin glanced out the window. The soul lamp flickered a little, indicating the visitor's strength. As long as he stayed under the lamp's protection and didn't invite her inside, she couldn't get to him, unless she was seriously powerful. The girl's stats flashed in his mind. Blood doll. Level, 5. Race, flesh evil spirit, alignment, chaotic neutral, combat, worth a poke, bio, haunting wandering soul alley, looking for her mommy. Touch her dolly, and she'll let the doll eat you. Lin seethed, but he kept his voice level. Come in. As a pharmacy clerk in Wandering Soul Alley, Lin knew the rules. If you didn't touch their sore spots and they weren't actively trying to kill you, you could still do business with these spirits and ghouls. The girl perched on the edge of the counter, cradling the doll. Lin winced. One of the doll's arms was torn clean off, leaving a ragged, bloody mess. Looked like something had taken a big bite out of it. Doctor, please save my doll. Her arm is broken, and I can't find it anywhere. She's my favorite. If this goes on, she's gonna die. The girl looked up, sniffling. Then, the corners of her mouth were suddenly yanked back to her ears in a bloody, horrific grin. You can fix her, right? Big brother. Lin's sanity -5. Lin didn't flinch. He reached out to examine the doll's mangled arm. Just then, the system chimed in. Ding. Wound shows signs of tearing. Saliva residue points to a family member. Blood type matches the doll's. Initial diagnosis, target's relative ate the doll's arm. Lin. This system was seriously impressive. It could give him an automatic diagnosis, made his job a whole lot easier. He glanced at the little girl, ignored her bloody smile, and said, "Have you eaten anything recently?" The little girl instantly dropped the creepy grin and went back to looking sad and innocent. She clasped her hands in her lap and said, "I haven't had a bite in days. I'm starving. But I had a dream last night, and I had a feast." She licked her lips and giggled. It was yummy. Squeak, squeak star. The doll on the counter suddenly flashed the same terrifying smile and repeated. Yummy. Yummy. He. Lin's sanity -10. Chapter 3 Physical Therapy or Surgery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin stayed cool and said, "Okay, first thought. You ate something you shouldn't have. Like, say, your doll's arm." The girl's smile vanished, but the doll kept cackling. Mommy loves doll. Doll loves mommy. He. Lin En looked up, eyes wide. Been feeling any weirdness in your stomach lately? The girl stammered. My stomach's kinda bubbly, and it feels like something's tickling me. Lin En nodded, scribbled in his notes. That figures. Sounds like it hasn't digested yet. You want surgery or something else? The girl was clearly freaked. Something else how? Thunk star. Lin slammed the bloody boning knife on the table. Rip you open, yank out the doll's arm, so you back up. Simple. The doll's laughter choked off instantly, a shiver went through the girl like a jolt of electricity. What about something else? Lin stood up, pulled gloves and a mask from the counter, and looked at her calmly. Easy peasy. No surgery needed. We can go in through the top, or the bottom, your call. And it's cheap. Girl. Doll. Girl's sanity value -20, the girl mumbled, the top. Alright, Lin said, clearing the counter. He cracked his knuckles. You're small, so no operating room needed. I can just have you sit right here. Just try not to bite my arm off, okay? The girl's eyes went wide as Lin's huge shadow loomed over her, masked and gloved, with a disturbingly calm look in his eyes. She scrambled onto a stool, clutching her doll. Can you not watch? Lin En said, nope. Doc's orders, everyone who walks in here gets seen, or they leave something behind. The girl trembled, and finally gave in. Fine. She forced her mouth open. Wider, ripe star, the girl stretched her mouth back to her neck, revealing a cavernous opening. A nasty smell hit Lin in the face. Without flinching, he grabbed a clamp from the counter and secured her upper and lower jaws to prevent any sudden moves. Then he stretched his arm and plunged it into the girl's mouth, all the way down. Deep-throated. The girl's eyes bulged. MMPH. MMPH. Hold still, Lin En said evenly, exploring her stomach. It'll be over soon. Unless you want your doll all chewed up, just relax. Bite. You got hair X50, bite. You obtained unknown body fragments X2, bite. You got carrion X5, bite. You got comb X1, the girl stared, eyes wide, making muffled, terrified noises. Got it, Lin En felt something that was still twitching, bite. You get lively arms X1, squish star. It was the doll's arm she'd eaten. Lin En calmly rinsed it off, put it on the counter. There it is. You must have been super hungry and just didn't realize you were chowing down on your doll. She probably saw you were starving and didn't want to say anything. But, watch what you eat. Some stuff doesn't digest so well. The girl's mouth was still propped open, so she couldn't say anything. That'll be 10 skull coins for the extraction, and 30 for the sewing. Lin En put on his mask and calmly pulled out a length of hemp rope and a long, needle-sharp needle. It glinted wickedly. Sew it on now. The doll in her arms was freaking out, trying to get away. Now, love, and, just, seem, the girl mumbled through the clamp. Lin En gloved up. Alright, hold her still. I'm threading the needle. The girl's eyes locked onto the struggling doll in her arms and pressed it down on the counter. The doll saw the cold light in Lin's eyes and screamed. Here we go. Stitch, stitch, stitch star. Stitch, stitch, stitch star. Bite. Junior surgical experience +1. Bite. Junior surgical experience +1. Bite. Junior surgical experience +1. Over half an hour later, to the soundtrack of terrified baby doll screams, Lin snipped the thread and said, okay, just put some of this on it every day, and it'll be good as new in a week. Lin grabbed a bottle of green potion from the counter. He popped the top and poured it onto the stitched arm. The doll shrieked in agony. The girl muttered, I'm doomed. I'm so doomed. Lin En dusted off his hands. All done. That'll be 10 coins for the extraction, 30 for the sewing, and 10 coins a bottle for the medicine. 7 bottles, so 110 coins total. Thanks for stopping by, come again. The doll whimpered in the girl's arms, staring at Lin En with pure terror. Clearly, Lin En had left a lasting impression. The girl numbly patted herself down. Finally, she pulled out 20 coins and put them on the counter with a shaky hand. I only have 20. Lin En said, all right. That leaves 90. What part of you are you planning to leave as collateral? I can cut it off for you. Free of charge. He picked up the boning knife, the girl's eyes bugged out, Omega Omega, and she stumbled back. I have 10 more, she fished out 10 more coins and put them on the counter, Lin En said, 80 to go. The girl put down 6 of the potions. I'll buy these later. Lin En took back the potions. 20 more. The girl trembled. Can I put it on my tab? Lin En walked out from behind the counter, knife in hand. Small business, no credit. But 20 coins isn't much. Leave me an eye, and I'll give you the potion and throw in 40 coins. The girl clutched the doll tighter, covered her eyes, and said, Can I pay some other way? Lin En said, Name your price. I'll appraise it. The girl swallowed hard and trembled. I'll, let you sleep with me. Would that cover everything? Chapter 4 Eyeballs are 200 yuan, no refunds or exchanges. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin En said, It's a small operation. I don't take flesh as payment. Just your right eye. You can buy it back later when you're flush. The girl whimpered, Okay, woo, a few minutes later, ding. You got a rare item, Blood Doll's right eye x1, Blood Doll's right eye, hunger plus 10 when held. Grants the skill, Iron Gut. Ding. Task complete. Reward, Skull Coin x50, Surgery Skill Experience plus 50, Special Reward, Blood Doll Fear plus 30, Doll's Doll Fear plus 50. Lin En calmly washed the blood off his hands, he put the eyeball in a bottle of special reagent and labeled it, then, he turned to the girl, who was covering her eye. Come again soon. Blood Saw Pharmacy aims to please. Lin En bowed, the girl hurried out, clutching her doll, her voice trailing behind her. Let's go find Mom. I'm never coming back here. Black Market. Ding. Hidden task triggered, Blood Doll looking for Mom. Help Blood Doll find her mother. Reward, Blood Doll Favorability plus 200, Doll's Doll Favorability plus 100, Special Reward x1, Current task completion, 2%, Lin En was taken aback, he looked out the door again, but the girl had vanished into the night, 2%. Lin En's eyes darted to the organs on the counter, those he'd pulled from the girl's stomach, Unknown Woman's Hair x50, Unknown Woman's Ears x2, Unknown Woman's Comb x1, Lin En. He had to admit, a chilling possibility occurred to him. Lin En stood up, washed the parts, sealed them in a jar, and planned to mention it to the girl next time she came. He checked his stats, thanks to the previous rewards, he now had 50 points of surgical experience and 50 extra skull coins. Customer money was the store's, off-limits to him, so he now had a total of 150 skull coins. Skull coins were basic currency in this world, good for just about anything, but Lin En hadn't left the store in 2 years. He'd had no use for them. Still, having more money was never a bad thing. Time flew. Lin En closed his eyes, holding his scalpel, still as a statue. The soul lamp by the door served as a warning, telling the wandering spirits in the dark that this was a master's domain, and malice would be paid for. Most wandering monsters stayed away when the soul lamp was lit. Within the homestead it protected. The owner could use the soul lamp to suppress any invading evil spirits or ghosts, but some extremely wicked entities feared nothing. They played by no rules. Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked. Welcome. Lin En opened his eyes. A massive, pig-headed humanoid stood at the door. One eye socket was bloody and empty. He wore a blood-stained apron and held a butcher knife that looked freshly used. A panel popped up in front of Lin En. Pig-headed demon. Level, 21. Race, twisted freak. Alignment, lawful evil. Combat prowess, as long as you're okay with being eaten. Bio, owner of the pork shop in Yuhan Lane. Your friendly neighbor, happy to share his freshly slaughtered prey, or share you with others. Lin En's sanity -5. Damn it, the pig-headed demon growled, covering his empty socket. That old hag ripped out my eye, 'cause I didn't bring her any useless trash. Next time I see her, I'm gonna, definitely, bleck. He spat a mouthful of phlegm and kept cursing, and the system popped up immediately in Lin En's mind. Ding. Pig-headed demon task, help him find a suitable eyeball. Reward, 50 skull coins, surgery skill experience plus 50, pig-headed demon favorability plus 20. Special reward plus 1. Come in. Lin En sat calmly behind the counter, secretly gripping his scalpel. The pig-headed demon lumbered inside, making the soul lamp flicker. A fishy, bloody stench filled the air, making Lin En want to gag. The pig-headed demon plopped onto the stool, his one remaining piggy eye scanning Lin En. Where's Bloodsaw? Get him out here to swap out an eyeball for me. I'll trade him my best cut. Lin En stayed calm. He's out. Is there anything I can help you with? The pig-headed demon paused, then turned, narrowed his eyes, and looked at Lin En like he was assessing a slab of meat. Oh, ding. Threat level increased to 89%, Lin En's heart raced, but he kept his face neutral. He'd made the right call. If he'd lied and said Bloodsaw was in the back, the demon would have known he was bluffing and attacked. Honesty gave the monster pause. What kind of eyeball are you looking for? Lin En turned and gestured casually to the jars of eyeballs soaking in reagent on the shelf. We've got human, pig, dead, bat, and blood doll eyes. Take your pick. Prices vary. The pig-headed demon's eyes flashed, revealing a row of tusks. His breath was terrible. Yours look pretty good. He licked his lips. Lin En's sanity minus 10. Ding. Threat level increased to 91%. Lin En knew that if he showed any fear, the pig-headed demon would attack. Mine? Lin En turned and met his gaze head-on. Then, under the pig-headed demon's fierce glare, Lin En slowly raised 3 fingers, reached into his own eye socket, and dug out his right eye, bit by bit. Squeak squeak dash. Ding. Host sustains organ loss. Seconds later, Lin En held his eyeball in his palm and presented it to the demon. Pig-headed demon's sanity minus 20. His expression didn't change. 200 skull coins. No refunds if it doesn't fit. The pig-headed demon was speechless. He hadn't expected the seemingly weak human to so casually yank out his own eye. When the scavenger took his eye, he howled in pain forever, but this human remained calm. Ding. Threat level reduced to 50%. Chapter 5. As a doctor, I must be responsible for you. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. His eyes flashed. He already suspected that Bloodsaw had turned this apprentice of his into some kind of stitched-up freak. An ordinary person wouldn't be so calm facing him. I don't want yours, I want my own eyes back. He rasped, alert. Crisis reduced to 45%. Lin En calmly pushed his eyeballs back into place and leaned back in his chair. Reaching inside his coat, he said, as a matter of fact. Then, to the pig-headed demon's shock, Lin En pulled out a huge eyeball, still slick with blood and gore, turning it over in his palm. Whoa! The pig-headed demon bolted upright, stunned. That. It was unmistakable. He recognized it instantly as the eyeball the old woman had taken from him. How did this human apprentice get his hands on it? Lin En placed the eyeball on the counter. Met a kindly old lady this morning. Called it a little gift. The pig-headed demon's sanity drops by 30. The pig-headed demon stared at the eyeball. Cold sweat dripped from the bristles on his neck, soaking his back. He knew exactly how terrifying that scavenger was. She'd plucked out his eyeball with ease. She could just as easily take his head, and she had just given his eyeball to this scrawny human. He was starting to think this apprentice was anything but ordinary. Actually, this was getting downright scary. He couldn't begin to fathom what made the human tick. Alert. Crisis reduced to 20%. The pig-headed demon eyed Lin En warily. The old woman gave that to you, and you're willing to sell it back to me? Lin En said evenly, not giving, selling. 200 skull coins, market price. Was this guy really not scared at all? The pig-headed demon searched his face, looking for a crack. Could it be he and the scavenger were in cahoots? Alert. Sense of crisis reduced to 10%. Clatter star. The pig-headed demon dumped a heavy pouch onto the counter, spilling skull coins everywhere. Fixing Lin En with a stare, he said, fine. I'll take it. Lin En calmly swept the coins into the till, then put his gloves and mask back on. Picking up his surgical loop, he said evenly, "Deal. You want it done here, or should we head over to the operating table?" "Here," the pig-headed demon said firmly. Nobody in Ghost Alley wanted to end up on Bloodsaw's operating table. "All right." Lin En picked up the boning knife with a practiced air. "Lean on the counter, head on the table. Feel free to scream if it hurts." The pig-headed demon sneered. "Pain doesn't scare me." ****, Lin En spat a mouthful of alcohol onto the blade. The pig-headed demon shut his mouth. He lit a candle and heated the blade slowly over the flame. Lin En narrowed his eyes, gripping the knife and moving closer to the pig's head. Inch by inch, a bead of sweat dripped onto the counter. The pig-headed demon started to tremble. "You need a knife to put an eyeball back in." The pig-headed demon's sanity -10, Lin En said quietly, just taking a look. "See all these stones and blood clots in your eye socket? You haven't been taking care of yourself. Consider this an extra service, on the house." Wait a minute," the pig-headed demon was terrified, but it was too late. Click, 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 star. "Aawa," the pig-headed demon screamed, a sound of pure, unadulterated terror. Sword skill experience +1, sword skill experience +1, sword skill experience +1. A few minutes later, Lin En was swabbing out the remnants in the eye sockets with disinfectant, wondering why his knife skills, not his surgical skills, were improving. "Okay, done," Lin En said calmly, wiping the boning knife with a rag. "Hold still. Now for the eyeball. If you move around, you'll screw it up." The pig-headed demon, slumped over the counter, was twitching and foaming at the mouth, clearly not hearing him. Lin En jumped, muttering, "Crap. Forgot the anesthetic. Guess I forgot to use that when I stitched the doll's arms on, too. Oh well." Lin En shook his head, his expression returning to normal. He used tweezers to retrieve the pig boss's eyeball, which he'd been soaking in a reagent, then turned to rummage in the medicine cabinet behind him. After a few seconds, Lin En pulled a white bottle from the top shelf. On it, scrawled in what looked like handwritten marker, were the numbers 5, 0, and 2. "What's that?" the pig-headed demon managed to stammer. Lin En held up the eyeball with the tweezers, shook the potion in his hand, and said evenly, "My special super-strength adhesive. Keeps the eyeball from falling out. Combine that with my teacher's special super recovery potion, and we're looking at a 95% success rate." Lin En explained seriously. The pig-headed demon trembled. "Just get it over with. You hear me? I don't want to be here anymore. You hear me?" Lin En nodded. "Don't worry, all our doctors have top-notch bedside manner." Lin En calmly mixed the viscous potion, then, he spread it evenly around the eyeball, lined it up, and gently placed it in the socket. He pulled out professional tools and adjusted the angle. He reached into the toolbox, and pulled out a hammer. Pig-headed demon, Omega. The pig-headed monster's sanity -20. "What are you doing? What are you doing?" the pig-headed demon shrieked. Lin En frowned. "Hold still. This is the final adjustment. If you screw up the positioning, I'll have to take it out and start again, and that's gonna cost you extra." Lin En shook his head and held the pig's head still. Then, he carefully tapped the hammer, seating the eyeball, bit by bit, with intense concentration. A few minutes later, Lin En jumped. The pig-headed demon twitched. "What is it? What's wrong?" Lin En frowned. "It's rebelling." Pig-headed demon, Omega. "Don't sweat it." Lin En calmly reached out, grabbed the brace that was holding the eyeball in place, and pulled. Susie and the pig-headed demon screamed in terror. Sanity plummeted. Lin En had pulled the anti-refractory eyeball right back out. "Just a little medical hiccup," Lin En said quietly, readjusting the eyeball. "No charge this time. I'll reset it." The pig-headed demon was screaming in fear and struggling wildly. "I can't do this. I don't feel safe with you anymore. Sanity minus 20. Sanity minus 20. Hold still. Lin En shouted, glaring at him. This is the last step. You paid me, so I have to take responsibility. I have to make sure every single one of my patients walks out of here in one piece. With that, Lin En raised the hammer angrily. Stop! The pig-headed demon shouted, his hand outstretched in terror, *bang star, sparks flew. Chapter 6 This is an illusion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10 minutes later, *bing. Task complete, 50 skull coins, plus 50 surgical skill experience, and 1 special reward, ***bing. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the pig-headed demon's favor has been converted to fear. Pig-headed demon fear plus 50, the pig-headed demon sat there, stunned and trembling, Google TWKN, across the counter. Lin calmly sat in his white coat, leisurely writing up the medical report with a quill. He slid a dozen or so small potions across the counter. Half of these are for oral use, half are for topical application, twice a day. Take them regularly, and in about 2 days, your vision should start to return. Of course, if you want faster-acting meds, that'll cost you 10 times as much. Checking out now, surgery fee, medication fee, aftercare fee, and eyeball fee, which you already paid. The total comes to 546 skull coins. Sign here if everything looks good. Lin looked up, eyes wide and friendly. Or you can just use a thumbprint. The pig-headed demon tremblingly reached out and put his thumbprint on the report. He shakily pulled a large coin purse from his robes, placed over 500 skull coins on the counter, and mumbled, "Can I go now?" Lin counted the coins. He looked up, his gaze drawn to the still bulging coin purse, but then his eyes landed on the pig-headed demon's protruding belly, ***bing. Hidden pig-headed demon quest triggered, strange belly. Completion rewards, plus 50 skeleton coins, plus 50 surgical skill experience, and visual diagnosis function unlocked, ***. The pig-headed demon turned to leave. Lin suddenly reached out and stopped him. Hold on a second, the pig-headed demon visibly flinched. What now? He turned to see Lin adjusting his monocle. The eyeball popped out, landing on the table with a wet thwack. He calmly picked it up and popped it back in. Sanity minus 1, Lin shook his head. I've noticed some other issues with your body. If left undiagnosed, they could have unforeseen consequences. The pig-headed demon bared his tusks. Don't lie to me. I hate liars, Lin said earnestly, I'm a doctor. I don't lie. Everyone who walks through that door is my patient, and I'm responsible for their health. Withholding information about a potential problem would be a serious breach of medical ethics. Meeting Lin's serious gaze, the pig-headed demon reluctantly sat back down on the bench in front of the counter. He said hesitantly, "What is it?" "I feel fine." Lin put on a mask. "Let me take your pulse." The pig-headed demon reluctantly placed his hairy arm on the counter. He had to trust the guy again. Lin placed his hand on the pig-headed demon's wrist, his expression calm as he felt for a pulse. Diagnosis experience +1. Diagnosis experience +1. Diagnosis experience +1. The pig-headed demon noticed Lin's brow furrowing, and his heart jumped into his throat. "Is it really something serious?" he asked nervously. He hated when doctors frowned. It was never a good sign. Lin withdrew his hand, looked at the pig-headed demon solemnly, and frowned. The problem could be minor, or it could be major. It all depends on how you handle it. What is it? The pig-headed demon asked anxiously. Lin said solemnly, ectopic pregnancy. A brief silence filled the air, broken only by a cool breeze from the open door. The pig-headed demon roared, grabbed Lin by the collar, lifted him up, and yelled, "Are you kidding me, you quack? I'm giving you one more chance to explain yourself." Lin remained calm. He held his eyeball in place and said gravely, "That's what my pulse is telling me. It can't be wrong. You have to trust my medical expertise." The pig-headed demon roared, "My pulse is telling you crap. I'll say it again. I'm a male pig." Lin nodded. That's what makes it an ectopic pregnancy. If that's the case, it'll be more complicated. It would require a more extensive gender reassignment surgery, and the recovery would be tough. The pig-headed demon tremblingly released Lin's collar and sank back onto the bench. What are you thinking about? I'm thinking about how to chop you into bacon. The pig-headed demon's eyes were bloodshot, and he was grinding his teeth in rage. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Lin straightened his collar, sat down at the counter, grabbed the file, and said quietly, "Have you been experiencing abdominal swelling and pain, retching, loss of appetite, bleeding, anywhere, lately?" The pig-headed demon stood up, barely containing his trembling and humiliation. "Tell me how I'm bleeding. Tell me how I'm bleeding." He ground out. Lin continued writing, looked up, and said, "Please, try to remain calm. This is just a standard medical history. Besides any lower bleeding, have you noticed any other symptoms?" The pig-headed demon hissed, "So what if I have? Can't a guy have a stomachache?" Lin adjusted his eyeball, glanced at the pig-headed demon, and asked, "How long has this been going on?" The pig-headed demon said through gritted teeth, "A month." Lin continued to take notes. "When was your last intimate encounter? Do you have any bad habits, such as frequent, vigorous activity or the use of any unconventional accessories?" The pig-headed demon stood there, stunned, his arms shaking. "Ask me another question like that, and see what happens." He was clearly infuriated by the line of questioning. Lin calmly held up a hand to stop him. "Okay, I won't ask that question. Next question. During your recent, intimate encounters, did you experience any pain down below?" Lin frowned, made a gesture suggesting something tearing open, and continued, "Like, a tearing sensation?" That was the last straw. The pig-headed demon grabbed Lin by the collar and roared, "I've put up with you long enough. Can you explain tearing sensation? Can you even describe it to me?" "Tearing sensation, my hairy butt." Lin reached out, patted the pig-headed demon's chest, and shook his head. "Calm down. A thorough diagnosis requires specialized equipment. This is just part of the process. I'm a doctor, this is for your health. It's for your own good. You don't want to be sick, do you?" The pig-headed demon breathed heavily through his nostrils, his chest heaving. His face was contorted with rage, but he finally lowered Lin, still muttering, "Comfort experience +1, comfort experience +1, comfort experience +1. Lin adjusted his collar again, put down his pen, and glanced at him with a slight head shake. Lin spoke rapidly. "Okay, there's one other possibility. You might have accidentally ingested something with strange properties, which caused something to become deformed in your body, creating the illusion of pregnancy." Chapter 7. The operation was completed perfectly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing you're looking rough, dark circles, pale face, cold wrists, are you just constantly hungry lately, no matter how much you eat? The pig-headed demon hesitated, then plopped back down. He'd called BS on Lin before, but this time he was spot on. He had been starving lately, and even stuffing his face didn't help. "How did you know?" Lin strode to his feet and grabbed a wooden basin from the back, filled it with water, then pulled a bottle of light green potion from under the counter and poured it in. Whoosh, star. A plume of green smoke, shaped like skulls, erupted from the basin. Lin clapped his hands. "This is an evocation potion. If you dip your hand in, it'll reveal any evil spirits or weird stuff messing with your body. It'll show you some truth." The pig-headed demon eyed it warily. He poked his snout in and sniffed. After deciding it seemed safe enough, he gingerly dipped his hand in. Instantly, a coldness crawled up from his gut. This is... His face changed. The green water began to bubble and churn, and wisps of black energy seeped from his body. Then, boom. His belly cramped, and a grinning face bulged out. He. He. Ouch, ouch, the pig-headed demon's hair stood on end. My stomach. My stomach, the laughter twisted into a wail. Wah, the pig-headed demon felt a surge of dread. What the heck is this? Wham, Lin grabbed a frying pan and slammed the bottom against the bulging face, flattening his stomach. The noise stopped dead, thump, the pig-headed demon slumped onto the bench, stunned. This. Lin pushed the basin aside. Looks like an evil spirit parasite. But judging by how the pan worked, it's not fully formed yet. You're lucky you found me. The pig-headed demon was completely sold. He dropped to his knees. Hey, listen, I was a jerk before, alright? Don't hold it against me. Please, help me. Please. He was terrified. He could handle a straight-up fight, but something growing inside him. He was helpless. Lin calmly picked up his pen. Anything weird you've eaten lately? That the pig-headed demon trembled. About a month ago, I accidentally inhaled a little imp when I was out. Other than that, just the usual pig and human. Lin considered. He looked up, serious. Gotta operate and see what's what. Later, dark operating room, a few candles and some bronze mirrors cast light on the pig-headed demon's greasy belly. He lay twitching on the uncomfortable table. You just decide to cut me open. Aren't you going to, run some tests first? Lin pulled on gloves and a mask, and calmly sterilized a scalpel. Quick and dirty gets the job done. Trust my diagnostic skills and my ethics. I'll make an incision, and if I can cut it out, I will. If I can't. The pig-headed demon shuddered. I'll kill you. Lin shook his head. He pulled out the boning knife his teacher always used and began to sharpen it in front of him. ****. The pig-headed demon stared blankly. He looked at the meat hooks hanging from the ceiling and the jars of monster parts. For some reason, he felt like a hog about to be butchered. ****. Sparks flew. Stop sharpening. Stop sharpening, that he couldn't take the screeching anymore. Soon. Lin rinsed the sharpened scalpel in disinfectant. It gleamed, razor sharp. He approached the pig-headed demon, put his ear to his greasy belly, and listened. Then, he grabbed a pencil and marked an X on his stomach. Ready? Lin said. The pig-headed demon trembled. Yeah, ready. Click-clack click-clack. Lin pressed a button, and iron shackles clamped down on the pig-headed demon's limbs. Ouch, ouch, he screamed. Lin frowned. Hold on, the surgery hasn't started yet. These are just to keep you from wriggling around and messing things up. It's for your own good. Have you ever actually done surgery before? Lin sharpened his knife and fork, and answered calmly, my teacher used to slaughter pigs. You're my first patient, but it's all good. I'm pretty confident. Silence. Ouch, ouch, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Let me go. Let me go. The pig-headed demon roared and thrashed. Lin's eyes flashed. Are you kidding me? I sharpened the knife already. You think you can just walk away? You want that thing to get bigger and rip you open? You're on my table now, and I'm responsible for you. You're getting cut, whether you like it or not. Snick. ****ow wow. Half an hour later. Knife skill experience +10. Knife skill experience +10. Surgical ability +1. The pig-headed demon lay motionless on the table, twitching. He'd lost count of how many times he'd passed out and woken up in agony. Then. What? A baby's cry filled the room. Lin grinned, holding the infant, and wiped the sweat from his brow. Congratulations, the operation was a complete success. The baby's stats appeared before his eyes. Evil blood infant, unformed. Race, evil spirit. Alignment, chaotic evil. Level, 1. Description, a ghost spirit formed from condensed resentment and ghost energy, and an evil blood infant formed by absorbing animal spirit's blood. Once it fully develops, it will devour the host's soul and flesh, growing stronger and becoming a disaster. The pig-headed demon mumbled, so. Chapter 8. If you feel uncomfortable in your stomach, I will perform surgery on you again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin En nodded. He pulled out the bill, paused, and said, look, this isn't ideal timing, but we need to discuss payment. The surgery's usually 300 skull coins, but since it's my first time doing this, I'll knock off 20%, making it 240. Stitching you back up is extra, bringing the total to 280 coins. Sound good? Ah, that the pig-headed demon let out a pathetic squeal, practically losing it. Hope you remember our site. Sew it. Just sew it. He stammered. Lin En nodded, gesturing to the threads hanging on the wall. Got hemp, wool, cotton, iron wire, steel wire. Prices vary. What'll it be? A tear trickled from the corner of the pig-headed demon's eye. Hemp, he mumbled. Lin En grabbed the hemp thread. All right, and do you need any? Sew. Just sew. He roared. Lin En nodded, skillfully snatched up a steel needle, snapped the hemp thread, walked over to the pig-headed demon, and clamped the thread between his teeth as he tugged. Hold still, this might sting. Here we go. Sewing skill experience +1, sewing skill experience +1, sewing skill experience +1, finally, after a little over 10 minutes, Lin En snipped the thread, patted down the knot, grabbed a potion, gargled with it, and spat it all over the demon's belly. Immediately, the stitched flesh began to knit back together, healing fast. Ding. Hidden quest complete. 50 skull coins, 50 surgical experience, and plus 50 visual diagnosis experience earned. Ding. Pig-headed demon's fear of you plus 200, ding. Popularity in Wandering Soul Alley plus 10, Lin En pulled off his mask, unlocked the operating table restraints, scooped up the little ghost, and beamed. Congrats. The surgery went off without a hitch. Just a standard evil spirit parasite, like I thought. Lucky you found me, or you'd be in real trouble, buzz, Instantly, everything blurred for Lin En, then he saw a black shadow bolt off the operating table, clutching his stomach, and booking it towards the door faster than you'd believe, never again, that he vowed he'd never come back, surgery's like a freakin' slaughterhouse. I'm traumatized after this doctor visit, . Hey! You forgot your kid. We're a pharmacy, not a daycare. Lin En raced after him, shouting all the way to the door, but the pig-headed demon had vanished into the darkness. Lin En sighed, he considered it, then yelled into the void, if your stomach acts up again, come on back. I promise anesthesia next time. And get your newborn outta here ASAP. Instantly, the bustling darkness fell eerily silent. Lin En turned and headed back to his pharmacy. He immediately darted to the counter, yanked open the lower drawer, grabbed a small bottle of high-powered recovery potion, and poured it into his right eye. The eyeball he'd gouged out slowly came back to life, still throbbing, though, but it worked. Lin En rubbed his bloodshot eye and muttered, "This world is messed up." He only dared to pluck out his own eye because he knew his shop carried advanced healing potions, but these were high-end, not something he could whip up himself. It was his teacher's stash, usually for personal use only, not for sale. Ding. Multiple skills can be upgraded, and your Wandering Soul Alley rep has improved. Check the panel. Lin En jolted and pulled up the system panel. Lin En, level, 3, race, human, strength, 4, agility, 5, intelligence, 8, constitution, 4, available points, 4, basic skills, intermediate housework, 909/1000, basic medicine crafting, 90/100, intermediate surgical ability, 203/1000, basic knife skills, 26 out of 100, basic diagnosis, 55/100, skull coins, 250, popularity, 15, description, a somewhat disturbed apprentice at the Blood Saw Pharmacy. Many patients have detected a sinister vibe. He seems to be taking after his teacher's twisted tendencies. Lin En. What's with that comment? That's insulting. Totally biased. Okay, maybe I skipped the anesthesia, but I'm super responsible to my patients. This system's just being a jerk. Lin En shook his head, then he noticed he'd leveled up, from level 2 to level 3, with 4 more points to distribute. Honestly, this whole panel felt like a cheap-ass online game, but this was no game. It was a grim, dark reality. Die here, and you're gone for good. Lin En didn't hesitate, he dumped all 4 attribute points into Constitution. Simple, to be a decent doctor, you gotta be tough, especially in this chaotic world. A weak body is just a death sentence waiting to happen, point blank, survival comes first. Confirm. Instantly, a rush of heat coursed through Lin En's body. He knew the attribute points were doing their thing, the fatigue from the surgery washed away, replaced by raw strength. He yanked off his coat, glancing at his abdomen. He could already see the faint outline of some abs. Lin En appreciated the sensation of a healthy body. Wah wah, the ghost baby wailed on the counter. Lin En immediately went over and checked on the bloody kid. That's when he noticed something was off, barely formed, only about 4 fists big, besides a mouth like a black hole on its cheek. The face was smooth as silk. Evil spirit blood baby, unformed, gender, female, level, 2. Lin En. Wasn't this thing level 1 a minute ago? Now it's level 2. Was it taking shape this fast? Then a system alert popped into his head. Ding. Optional hidden quest triggered, ghost baby's unstable form. Due to premature birth, the ghost energy within is rapidly distorting its appearance. The more grotesque it becomes, the more malice it will unleash after it's reborn. Chapter 9 I#039, LL give you a plastic surgery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Optional task branch 1, turn it into lamp oil for soul lamp, task reward, soul lamp use days +2. Optional task branch 2, feed it to the baby in the backyard, task reward, baby favorability +50. Optional task branch 3, soak it in reagents and keep it as a collection, task reward, specimen making experience +10. Optional task branch 4, wait for the pig-headed demon to come and take back his daughter, task reward, to be analyzed. Lin En calmly considered the system's 4 options. Definitely number 4. He sat on the counter, placed the ghost baby on the table, and began tapping his fingers, saying with mock seriousness, I'm a doctor. If someone leaves a baby with me and I off it, what kind of sicko would I be? My morals just won't let me do that. I'm such a stand-up guy, system. Don't you think I deserve a little something extra, morality +10? Lin En gripped his knife and resumed waiting for new customers. 2 minutes later, he glanced at the ghost baby. Its features had already begun to warp into something hideous. Lin En's sanity -1. 0.5 minutes later, another peak revealed cysts of various sizes sprouting on the baby's face, accompanied by a hoarse humming from its dark mouth. Lin En's sanity -10. 0.10 minutes later, when Lin En looked again, its face was covered in a writhing mass of small, black tentacles. Lin En's sanity -30. Lin En's eyes twitched uncontrollably. The system was right. If left to its own devices, this ghost baby really would twist into some unspeakable abomination. No way. Forget about the pig demon even recognizing his daughter. I can't take it anymore. It's too damn ugly. Seriously, horror movie ugly. Lin En jumped up, stretched his wrist, and declared, alright, consider this a freebie. I'm giving you a free facelift so you stop scaring me and start scaring other people. He donned a mask and gloves, seized a rope and tied the ghost baby to the counter. Squeak squeak squeak. The twisted tentacles on the ghost baby's face suddenly morphed into countless mouths, roaring at Lin En in terror. */slap**. Lin En swatted the tentacles back. Hold still. Lin En put on a magnifying lens, his expression cold, and cracked his knuckles. He reached out with both hands, grabbed the writhing tentacles on its face, and began kneading them like dough. Wah-wah, a noise, not unlike fear, came from the ghost baby. Evil spirit blood infant fear +10. Plastic surgery is a delicate art. Although Lin En had never performed it before, his skills with clay figures were exceptional. In a way, the two were similar, and the first step of any facelift, naturally, is to mash together all the sticky gunk on the face, make sure it's round enough. This will create a foundation for everything else. Evil spirit blood infant fear +10, kneading dough also takes finesse. Not too dry, not too wet. It needs to be elastic and tough. This is also where your strength comes in. Quit wiggling. Since I delivered you, it's my duty as a doctor to keep you healthy. Don't worry, leave your face to me. Lin En frowned with great focus. He made full use of his noodle-pulling skills from before he got here, kneading the mass on its face. Stretch it out, evil spirit blood infant fear plus 20, twist and mash it in, evil spirit blood infant fear plus 20, stretch it again. Twist it twice and press it in, thoroughly mixing all the sticky, gross stuff evenly and elastically. The sound coming from the ghost baby became increasingly terrifying. Evil spirit blood infant fear plus 20, knock 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 asterisk. Someone knocked on the door. Standing there was a humanoid monster covered in burns and pus. Scarlet, smelly mucus dripped from its eye sockets, creating a horrific and bizarre sight. I want a facelift. A raspy, burnt voice croaked from the monster's throat. Lin En took a look. Burnt ghost. Race, evil spirit, level, 15. Alignment, chaotic neutral. Combat ability, weak. Description, an evil spirit burned to death in a fire. 99.9% of its body is covered in burns. Possesses a twisted, gloomy personality and a deep hatred for anything beautiful. Ding. Triggered quest, help the burnt ghost with a facelift. Reward, 50 skull coins, surgical experience plus 50, special reward plus 1. Welcome. Have a seat over there, and I'll be with you shortly. Lin En poked his head out from in front of the ghost baby, with a professional smile. Splat asterisk, the thick paste from the ghost doll's face splattered onto Lin En's mask. The burnt ghost, who had just entered, froze. Please, make yourself comfortable. I'll be right there. Lin En smiled, then Lin En's attention turned back to the ghost baby. To speed things up, Lin En used both hands. He grabbed both sides of the kneaded meatball, pulled hard. Wah wah. A blood-curdling sound erupted from the ghost baby. It twisted like a contorted noodle. He pressed it back onto the face. Aya. The ghost baby trembled, flattening the ghost baby out. He kneaded the flesh on its face with even more force. Almost done, just be patient. Lin En raised his head, flashing a sincere smile to the burnt ghost sitting nearby. The burnt ghost took a step back, his face contorted in terror, his legs wavered and trembled. Another 2 feet, burnt ghost. Burnt ghost sanity minus 20. He needed it. He picked up the rolling pin, asterisk squeak 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 asterisk. The ghost's face was rolled flat, and it squealed in fear. The pustules on the burnt ghost's body trembled. Burnt ghost sanity minus 20. Something was off. Terribly off. He definitely walked into the wrong place. He extended a scorched hand, trembling, and asked, "Excuse me, are you?" Hearing this, Lin En, while rubbing the flesh on the ghost baby's face, lifted his head and offered a professional smile. Oh, this little ghost was just too ugly, really. A doctor's duty is to replace that ugliness with something normal. The burnt ghost shuddered. He replied in a daze, your method is, certainly unique. His entire body was stiff, his scorched eyes wide, and his hunched body straightened out without him even realizing it. He stared at the ghost baby's face in the doctor's hands, like ramen noodles. His legs trembled even harder. In his mind, the horrible image of his own face being stretched by the doctor flashed. The burnt ghost started to panic. Was this some kind of scam? And just as that thought crossed his mind, asterisk pop 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 asterisk, asterisk pop 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 asterisk, the doctor crushed the dozens of tumors on the ghost baby's face. The thick liquid splattered with a popping sound. They're exploding. They're exploding. Mom, omega. Burnt ghost sanity minus 30. Chapter 10 Black Shop. Black Shop. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Subconsciously, he shielded the burned cyst on his face, a vivid image flashing through his mind of being squeezed and popped by the doctor. He was terrified, trembling so hard his teeth chattered. Fear of the burned ghost plus 20. Fear of the burned ghost plus 20. Then, Lin En ripped off the slurry-covered mask, flashed the burned ghost a friendly smile, and said, "I'll grab my tools from the back." "Just a sec, you're up next." Every cyst on the burned death ghost's body, omega, seemed to pulse, that smile was terrifying. Why that creepy grin when he said I was next? Burned death ghost sanity -20. Burned death ghost sanity -20. He'd seen the old weirdo from Bloodsaw Pharmacy leave today, hoping for a shot at getting his burns treated with minimal suffering, but no, the old perv was gone, replaced by a little perv. He stared, eyes wide with terror, at the ghost baby twitching on the counter, its face practically melted into black goo. Could that be, what's gonna happen to me? He mumbled. Just then, the screech of a chainsaw ripped through the silence from behind the curtain in the back. VRRM. VRRM, *SREEEEECH*. The sound made him want to claw his own face off, his bones rattled with fear. A chainsaw? He said he was getting tools. What's with the chainsaw? Suddenly, he pictured a chainsaw-wielding maniac, grinning like a loon, stalking toward him. Black smoke practically poured off him. Then, his ears perked up. Thump, thump, the footsteps were getting closer. The guy was coming this way, chainsaw and all. A dark shadow appeared on the curtain to the back, the chainsaw scream almost deafening. Thought the burned ghost clawed at his head, numbers popping up like crazy. Sanity -20. Sanity -30. Sanity -40. His sanity bottomed out, the burned-to-death ghost bolted for the door. Black market. This place is a rip-off. Help. Someone, help me. Ding. Burn the dead ghost mission failed. Ding. Burned ghost's fear of you +400. Ding. Congrats. You've maxed out the fear level on your first customer. Award, 100 skull coins. Ding. Popularity +10, Lin. He pushed aside the curtain, staring in disbelief at the trail of ashes left by the fleeing ghost. What the heck? I just wanted to sharpen the scalpel. Why'd he take off like that? And what's with the +400 fear rating? Why is he so freaked out by me? I'm all about service with a smile. I'm polite, I'm attentive. Shouldn't that read as friendly and double the goodwill? Lin couldn't wrap his head around it. Whatever, he's gone. Too bad for Lin. Anyway, time to finish the ghost baby. *snick***. The carving knife gleamed in Lin's hand. An hour later, Lin En sat back, setting down the knife with a pleased smile, admiring the ghost baby. Isn't that an improvement? Cherry lips, chubby cheeks, big eyes, cute nose, the hideous, indescribable thing it had been was now adorable and lifelike, thanks to Lin En's artistry. Back in his old life, Lin En aced every craft class, his clay portraits always got rave reviews. Lin was smiling, in a great mood. Then, a vertical pupil suddenly sprouted on the ghost baby's forehead. *snap**. Lin lost it. He pinched his eyes and complained, not there. That's part of the face. I worked so hard. You wanna mess it up, I'll operate again. Don't test me. Evil blood infant fear +50. Evil blood infant fear +50. Ding. System detects that the evil blood infant's fear of you has exceeded its resentment. Threat level reduced to -321% and decreasing. Ding. You've triggered the hidden mission, suppress ghost baby resentment. Current completion, 321%. Rewards, 151 skull coins, plastic surgery skill XP +100, special reward, resentful spirit hair X5. Lin was surprised. A hidden mission, huh? Looks like there are still a lot of system features for me to discover. Suddenly, 5 long strands of hair materialized in his hand. Their description popped up instantly: ghost hair, hair from a female ghost consumed by resentment. Possession causes suffocation as the hair constricts around the target's neck. Lin En stroked his chin. Decent self-defense, but only 5 strands. Gotta use them wisely. Lin En stashed the hair, sat at the counter, and went back to tapping the abacus, waiting for the next customer. Of course, he kept a close eye on the ghost doll. Any sign of it reverting and Lin En would pin it down for another adjustment. Time flew. The light from the soul lamp outside flickered and faded. Night was coming. To this world, the soul lamp was the best way to tell day and night in this dark world. At night, no matter how hard you tried, the lamp wouldn't light, which meant, without the lamp's protection, any monster could barge in and tear you to shreds, as the lights went out and Lin En was getting ready to lock up. Knock, knock, knock. Someone was at the door, a tall figure in a thick black cloak, a black top hat, and long gray hair loomed. The massive shadow cast from outside felt overwhelmingly oppressive. Lin En's heart jumped. The guy's stats had popped up: Monster Hunter, Okaros, dot, race, human, level. Combat ability, you will die, no surprises, alignment, chaotic good, dot, introduction, a powerful monster hunter who travels the dark world alone. He doesn't belong to any organization and is something of an enigma. He's dedicated his life to hunting those colossal monsters he considers evil. Please, don't try to understand him, that's dangerous, Lin En. Wait, this guy is human.